I'm here with Larry Cote, CEO of Intersol Group and Lean Advisors. Hi Larry, good to see you.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm all right. Listen Larry, I have you here because I think you can help us all understand lean a little bit better in context to an article that I saw.
I'll do my best.
Okay, so there's an article that was written in the Canadian Press, October the 14th, and the headline was, Health Minister says the Saskatchewan goal to end ER waits by 2017 won't be met. And I just thought maybe you could have some interesting perspectives around this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if you could just briefly, I know it's about patient flow and emergency rooms, if you could just kind of, I know I forwarded it to you so you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do have.
And I just
briefly looked at it.
Maybe for our audience, you could just kind of touch on that for me, what the article was sort of just.
Sure, I think what the health minister was saying is that they're not going to be able to reach a goal of 0
Oh, okay.
wait time
Right.
in the emergency room. And I can understand why he's saying that. The emergency room is part of a system.
Right.
And so trying to get the emergency room down to a 0 wait time means everything on either side of the emergency room, upstream, downstream,
Yeah.
have to also flow.
Right.
And I think what's going on is they're measuring this one area,
Right.
and everything else is, I'm sure, improving, but not at a rate that you can say, you come into the emergency room and you move on to the next step.
Right.
So they're not looking at it from a system perspective.
Right. And maybe if they did, they might identify other
Right.
areas that could help or hinder.
And they wouldn't set that goal of 0 in
Right.
the emergency room. And they're not the only ones. Everybody on this continent is trying to reduce wait times in the emergency room.
Yeah.
For some reason, that's become a focus of the attention of everyone in healthcare as well as administration. So they have to recognize it is one point in the system.
Yeah.
And even if you improve it, you may be causing problems. And we've talked about this, upstream and downstream. So, information may not flow. The patient may not have a place to go outside of the emergency room. The doctors may not be available. I mean, there's so many variables in healthcare. It's probably one of the most complex processes that a person can go through and the information can flow through. So I think that's what they're struggling with, and I like the idea that they're saying, listen, we're not going to hit 0. That was unrealistic. But I do like the idea that they did say they're going for 0.
Right.
Nothing wrong with having that idealistic goal,
Absolutely.
but back off and say, we now have to look at the entire system. We've made improvements in the emergency room. Now we have to look at the entire system if we're really going to have an impact.
Right.
And they may have hit a wall.
Right.
In the emergency room, they've got it down.
Yeah.
And that's as far as they go until they do look at the entire system.
Well, I know I can tell you that I have a tendency to look at things from a marketing perspective a lot of the time, and certainly in the health world.
Right.
Sometimes demarketing is necessary. Like maybe people are going to the waiting room that shouldn't be at the waiting room. So
Certainly.
don't go to the
Certainly.
emergency unless you absolutely need to. So
Well, and that's one of the
Whole bunch of
examples of
things.
a variable that they
Yeah.
don't have control over. That's
Right.
educating the public. How
Yeah.
do you do that?
yeah.
That's going to take years and years. So I did read the article quickly, and I think, what they're saying is they're not going to stop paying attention.
Right.
But I think the other side of it is they need to get away from measuring points, because it does drive, as we've talked before, behaviors that you don't want. Quirky behaviors. If I'm at 3 hours wait time average in my emergency room, if I'm in charge of the emergency room, I got to get that down to 2 hours. How do I do that? And that can drive some quirky behaviors.
And you don't want to compromise
The care.
The care.
Because wait time is one measure. We talked about that. We need 3. The speed, so wait
Okay.
time. We need cost, drive those
Sure.
down, and quality.
Right.
And don't forget the staff. The stress on staff when you say we need to keep reducing
Hurry
the
up,
amount
hurry
of
up.
hurry up.
Yeah.
That's going to possibly cause you some problems. But those
Yeah.
3 measures, quality, speed, and cost, have to improve. If you're just going to improve wait times,
Yeah.
you may be failing and not noticing what you're causing as far as problems or
Yeah.
deterioration,
Yeah.
actually, in the quality of the service that you're.
Well, thank you for this. I think what I might be asking you to do in the future is maybe write a blog post for us, and it can talk a little bit more about this, and
I'll
we
do
can have some tips and tricks for people that are listening.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you for watching.
thank you.